Good evening, and hope you are joining us here at IntellectualRadio.com. Here's the Life with Zemrah, and of course, my love, the love of my life, Lee Sherman. And we are here this evening to talk about love, and even more love with the lovely Miss Cheryl White, who I have known for a number of years. We've worked together in the insurance industry, and she's doing things, of course, as well as I am doing my music. So, you know, in this day and time, you do have to be entrepreneur.
Yes, you do.
And it's so many dreams that we have that we always want to continue to make come true, so we don't stop. As I always say, we just keep it moving. And I am so excited to announce that we are finally up and running with our Love is Possible CD, and our CD release concert will be March 30th, 2019. At the wonderful stage of Kennedy King. Hermaine Hartman got that spot for us, and it is a most beautiful auditorium. And I was very pleased and very excited about it. We have a VIP of 70, which about 45 tickets are gone already. So it's going to be a limited seating even for the theater. Because it's only $294, and that does include, our VIP. So we're very excited about it. My team has been notified by Welder Bell to assist me so wonderfully always, and so we look forward to a packed house. So love is possible, and you know it is. So that's where we're here to talk about love and get some of Cheryl's take on love and the fact of, do you think love is possible, and your opinion of commitment in the term of love. So we're not going to tarry. We got the Chicago weather going, and we want to go head on. And what is your take on love, real love, Cheryl?
Okay, so my take on real love is that absolutely it's possible.
Yes.
I didn't say it wasn't difficult, but it's very possible.
Mm-hmm. And our subtitle is, and you know it is.
That's the subtitle.
Yeah, love is possible, and you know it is.
Yeah, right. And I would like to just add on to that. It's difficult, but it's possible.
Yes.
And, it doesn't have to be difficult.
No, it doesn't.
It just depends on a person's understanding of love. And the first issue that I have is that most people have a misconception of what is love. People, if you ask 10 people, 100 people, what is love, the overwhelming majority of them is going to tell you, oh, it's that feeling that I have. When I get around that woman, it just makes me feel some kind of way, but I've got to tell you, that's not love. That's cathexis. When you attach care and affection towards a thing or a person or an object, that's not love.
That's lust, the way you're saying, huh?
Well, I said cathexis, but if you want to say lust, you can say that too. But I didn't want to forget some of the important details, so I took a note. I took some notes to help me in the short period of time to stay focused. So what first people need to understand is love is not a feeling, okay? Love is it's a verb. You do love. Love is basically what you do. And it consists of certain variables. Care and affection is just two of them. But it also consists of open and honest communication, trust and care, affection, responsibility, respect. That's very important.
Absolutely.
Commitment and trust. Because what people don't really understand, that what love is when you have the desire for you as well as someone else's spiritual growth. That's what love is all about. So that's why you have those different components that tie into love. And then most people think that love is just, it's just instinctual. It's just something you're born with. You're just born knowing how to love. That's another misconception.
Now, why do you say that?
Because love is a learned behavior. It's a learned behavior. You have to learn. And, I don't want to beat up on the men, too bad, especially 2 days before Valentine's Day. But that men tend to, how we always talk about how strong women are.
And they are.
Yeah, because we can bear, labor and birth children and do this and do that. And, we're so strong. And that's true. But we're also strong in other ways. When you can openly express, how you feel about someone and something and not be ashamed, not be concerned with the backlash of it, that's pretty strong. And that's not something that men are so comfortable with. I find that most men, not mine, thank the Lord, but I find that, most men, they find it easier to be in loveless relationships. Because remember what I said, there's several components to love, to serious love. That again is, and for those folks that missed it, it's when you lovingly and openly, when you openly and honestly express care, affection, responsibility, respect, commitment, and trust. That's not always an easy thing to do.
But if you love someone, well, yeah.
Yes. And like I said, again, it's a learned behavior. It's a verb. So you have some, folks, unfortunately, that will say, well, he loves me. I know he mistreats me. No, because love is not a feeling. Love is action. So if not to say that a person is perfect, because there are things that we all need to work on. But if someone truly loves you or wishes to love you, wants to love you,
they're not going to abuse you.
They'll do the right thing.
Exactly.
Absolutely not.
I agree with that.
Because you're not welling on my tail talking about you love me. That's not working. You're not telling me, a bunch of lies and this, that, and the other, and you're talking about you love me.
That's true.
Because I'm looking at your actions.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
So, that's,
you ain't gonna wail.
You're not welling on my tail.
No, let's give a man's opinion.
Okay.
Well, it won't be on that part because you don't believe in that.
No, I wouldn't do that.
You said you and I have been knowing each other a while. I've also been knowing Ed a while. Right? Oh
yeah,
so Ed, the two of you always been like.
Oh yeah.
When you see one, you see the other. So come on now.
Well, you said it was a learned behavior.
It absolutely is.
I'm trying to figure out where did these guys learn this from? Because if you have no one to teach you, how would you know?
You just proved my point.
Is it something that you were born with naturally?
No, it's not. It's not instinctive at all.
So now, why do you say that though?
That is not instinctive because it's a learn. Because you have to learn to be respectful. Sometimes you may not even know that maybe what you're doing is not so respectful, because oftentimes people's intentions may be in the greatest of places. But if you upset me right now and I get up and I'll, slap you across the face or get really irate or use foul language towards you, that's not being very respectful at all. And my actions is saying different. And the problem that we have, and I know I'm opening myself up to criticism, about this, but
that's your opinion.
It's not learned in the home the way that we think it is. We take for granted, so if you look at generations from one generation to the next generation, what are they for the most part trying to do? They're trying to be better than the previous generation before them, right?
Absolutely.
So that also includes better in our relationships, better in how we treat other people and the world around us. So it's, we're learning because there was no manual, but you have to learn, even parenting and love, it kind of goes together, right? So in essence, for some folks, Learning to be a better parent or learning to parent is about learning to be more of a loving parent, and that also goes into now the whole debate about do you I'm trying to think, how can I say this nicely?
We don't say it nice. This is intellectual radio. You can say anything you
When your
want.
kids get out of hand, do you beat their ass? You know what I'm saying? Because before,
If you love them, yes, you will.
okay, but do you have to beat their
No,
to do
no,
that?
no.
You just it's discipline. It's not necessarily.
But we have learned that.
We have learned
we
that.
knew it before, but we didn't have our elders to teach it to the younger generation on how to do that.
That's what I'm saying.
They think that kind of discipline ruins a child's creativity or whatever that is.
And it can.
It depends on how you do it, because if you do everything
Absolutely.
with love, it will be taken that way.
But don't forget, love is a verb.
Right,
so you're not doing it. So, a lot of us was raised as kids with mama and that belt in her hand, and this is going to hurt you more than it's going to hurt me.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
how that work?
Now, how is that so? But, I say this very, 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 very caringly, okay, and very affectionately. A lot of, you go way back to a few generations. I mean, you might have great grandmama. She just didn't know any better. She just knew what was handed down, to her.
But through that, the children that were raised were altogether different.
Well, okay, so let me ask you this. They were altogether different. So I believe that earlier generations were more heavy-handed, were more strict.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so that was a different generation. How would you compare that generation of kids to the generation of kids that we have now?
Because for one thing, you got children raising children. Well, you got children raising children for one thing, because you have a lot of young women having children at an early age, as opposed to when we came up.
Yes, you've always had that.
All they had to do was look at you, and you knew to get moving.
But you've always had, teenage pregnancy has been around, for years. We've always had young folks raising young folks.
But it was different.
I think what happened is when you had the 80s, when, you basically didn't have any parents raising the kids. That's, to me, is the biggest difference today. That you have too many children that are basically raising themselves. Because first of all, grandmama is there, mama ain't there. But grandmama is tired. Kids and running up after kids, at night and checking on curfews and putting your foot on their neck. As a grandparent, you're too old to be doing all that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You're happy just to play with the little kids and give them back.
Yes.
So,
but you got a lot of these grandparents taking these kids, and they, like you said, the mom isn't present, so you got a lot of the grandparents trying to handle 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 kids.
Yeah, and listen,
I wasn't doing
it. If they are a type of grandparent, like, let's say me, for an example, I mean, what is it? 40 is a new 30. 50 is a new 40, 60. So these days, also, grandma might be tired, but she's not too tired to have her own life.
Well, I know we have our own life.
It's not necessarily staying in the kitchen.
No. So grandmas are young grandmothers now.
Yes, they
and
are.
Grandfathers, because I know my daughter, I had one and she had 6. But one thing I'll say about Maria, she was a mother that was a mother. She was a young mother, but her kids didn't do, they would eat sometime out, but she was a cook, kept a clean house, no matter what kind of challenges she would go through, she took care of her kids. And I do have to applaud her for that, openly have to say, that we were very proud, very, very proud of that, because she knew that, I would definitely keep children when I chose to, because
Uh-huh.
I was busy. You
Uh-huh.
know, I wasn't one to sit around the house and gonna be babysitting.
Okay.
So she knew that I wasn't gonna do that. I kept them when I wanted to,
Okay.
because I was a busy grandma and
Okay.
still a busy grandma.
That yes, you are.
Still doing my
With your
thing and gonna
singing
keep
career,
on
and I
doing that.
love it.
That's
And every
right.
time I see you, you look good.
Thank you,
But what I'm
sweetheart.
about to do right now is to I'm gonna flip the
Uh-uh.
tables a little bit because,
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
as you mentioned, I've been knowing you for a good while.
Mm.
Okay, over a decade.
Yeah,
So I've been knowing you for that long
Mm-hmm.
too.
that's
And
right.
for as long as I've known the both of you, the two of you have always been together. So you've been together a while. How long have you been together?
We've been together about 28 years.
That's a long time. So let me ask you this. It's really a long time. I mean, when you're only 42, right? And you've been together for
Right.
28 years. So
We
I'm
seniors.
gonna
We don't
ask,
we
I'm
ain't
gonna
ashamed.
ask you two what has been your secret. But before I have you to answer that, what I would like to know is, and I want both of you to answer according to I'm going to use my definition that I provided for love. Are you concerned with your spiritual well-being as much as hers?
Well, of course.
Okay, so would you say that between the both of you that there is open and honest communication?
Of
Oh
course.
yeah.
Would you say that there's care and affection?
Oh, yes.
Would you
Yes.
say that there's respect?
Oh, yes.
Okay,
Yes.
and
Absolutely.
trust.
He won't accept nothing less, and neither would
Okay,
I.
so then
And
not
trust is
all right.
definitely there.
Okay, so that is basically my definition, and I've got to give credit to Bell Hooks. I don't know if anybody out there is familiar with Bell Hooks. She is I like to call her a Black intellectual because she is.
Oh, she should be on the show.
I mean, she's, written a lot of books. You can call her a feminist if you want to, but I don't know how I feel about that term. That's a whole nother story for another show of another day. You have the younger generation, they're embracing womanism because feminism is something that was created and didn't include us. So we don't use that definition now. But she is someone who's very concerned about, the well-being of women and just society and folks getting along in general. Okay, she's a Black woman, and so her book is all about love, and she did a lot of research, and she poured years of research, and she's always someone that I've been fond of. I've always been an avid reader of her books for longer than yes. So I give a lot of credit to what I know to her. So, but I would love for you guys just to give it to us, plain and simple. Give it to me. What do you think has been very important in keeping the two of you together, besides lust?
I think really and truly, the trust that Ed and I have.
Okay. Do you have some nuggets to
The
share?
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, and nothing's perfect.
Okay. I
I
was
mean,
just
we've
gonna
had, yeah, we're
ask
not
that.
going to be
So,
mythical about
Ed's
it.
not perfect.
No,
Oh,
and
no.
neither am I. I
And
mean,
you're
and
not
we've
perfect.
had situations where we've had our
Uh-huh.
disagreements and our
Uh-huh.
challenges.
Uh-huh.
But I think one of the things that was so phenomenal about us
Uh-huh.
is that we let whatever challenges that we ran into, it made us stronger. When
Okay.
we had situations that put us in a financial bind or any type of situation, it just we became tighter. And we
Okay.
just like they said,
And
when the
that's the
tough
way it
get
should
going,
be.
the going get tough,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the way we did it,
I think
and it drew us closer.
the thing to remember with young people, you have to want for your partner what you want for yourself.
Absolutely. That goes to what I'm saying about that
And you should
spiritual
treat
growth. It's not just about yourself.
and you should treat your partner the way you would treat yourself. So it always goes back around to what do you think of you?
Okay.
What do you think of yourself and who do you think you belong to?
Mm-hmm.
Who created you and how much respect you have for that creation? Because whoever
Mm.
created you created them.
Mm. That's right.
So therefore, how you treat your partner is how
Mm-hmm.
you treat yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because they are you, just a feminine form of you.
Okay.
So if you disrespect your partner, you're disrespecting yourself.
Absolutely.
So that's the way I look at it.
Absolutely. I would
Second,
agree with that.
the second thing is when I look at other people, actually they are separate, just a different expression of me.
Okay.
That's what everybody else. That what connects us all. That we are the same person. We really are. We are
Mm-hmm.
made from the same DNA.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't pick out the differences and situate
Mm-hmm.
those because we're more alike than we are different.
Okay.
So therefore, when you pick a mate, they have to be of the similar spirit that you are, on the level that you have grown to be. If you do not search that out, and if you do not test that, you're probably doomed to fail, like 60% of the time,
Mm-hmm.
which is what marriages are, about 65%. They fail because the person who did the picking didn't take time to vet the other person
Mm-hmm.
because they were so in love and emotionally involved
Mm-hmm.
until they forgot to ask the basic questions,
They're full of lust
or
or
made the basic
confesses.
observations that they should have made before they got together. How did this person handle difficulty?
Mm-hmm.
How to resolve issues?
Absolutely.
How did
Yes.
like she Zen would not we would not go to bed angry.
Mm-hmm.
She can't go 2 3 days and not talk to me.
Mm-hmm.
She was just say, "Where's that?" She said, "I ain't doing that."
Well, you better than me
No,
with that part because
I
there's
can't
some
do
things
it.
I'm still working on.
Yeah, because that's not good.
Well,
Because if
No, it's
something was to
not.
happen,
but
Yeah, absolutely.
that's pride,
Absolutely.
and you put the relationship
Well, I have a lot of it.
ahead
Mm-hmm.
of your personal issues.
Mm-hmm.
but that's false pride. You got to get rid of that.
I understand. And I'm
Yeah,
not perfect. But one thing about me is that I own up to my ish. You know
and
what I'm
that's
saying?
good.
I don't have any problems with doing that because
Yeah,
there's no one that I have to, answer to. At the end of the day, it's my creator. Like I said, if I make the right decision or I make the wrong
Yeah,
decision,
but
I got the
see,
answer for that.
but the creator made them too, so they're
Well, I
learning.
understand that. And
They're
I'm working on things.
they're learning.
I'm working on things. But you spoke again, to my belief or my definition. You said that you have to know the person.
But we
You
don't know
know,
anybody. We don't take the time to really know the
that's my
person.
point. Because if you're going to have care, trust, respect, open and honest communication,
communication.
that don't happen overnight, boo. And it definitely doesn't happen in a club. So you meet somebody in the club and you're like, oh my God, wow, you see her big old butt, I'm in love. You know what I'm saying? You say, girl, you see him, he's so fine. But it's you have to get to know a person. And I had a very, 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 very good friend in college. We were roommates. We've been friends for over the years. But we hit a point where I was dating my love now, and we have been dating for 7 months. And she lives in LA, and we would spend hours on the phone talking and so forth. And she just couldn't understand why we weren't running off to the altar somewhere. She didn't understand where we were in our relationship. If you asked me what was going on with us, I said, okay, we're dating. And she felt like because we had been dating for 7 months, she knows people that it's like love at first sight and they get married right away. But what I noticed is that by me being a woman, it was almost like I was not allowed by other men. I mean, well, by other women, especially, and men, to have my opinion that no, it takes a while to get to know
Oh
someone.
yeah, because we went
There,
together 5 years
yeah,
before we got married.
that's what I'm saying. I'm not moving in with somebody after knowing them a year, knowing them for 2 years.
That's
I
right.
mean, there are some folks that you can know a whole life, that you can know them a whole lifetime and still not know them. And
Absolutely.
that's a little different. People change. Some people are deceptive, but I'm just saying outside of all that, I've got to be comfortable with, where how well I know you.
But now you really don't really and truly know a person until you
No,
live
but I
with
got
them.
to know you enough for my comfort level.
Oh, I
And
agree
that
with
and
that.
that ain't after,
7 months. I agree
exactly.
with that.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
But it's
Yeah.
very interesting because I could understand where she was coming from, and clearly she can understand where I was coming from. And the interesting part about it is that at that point, she had probably been my friend for 10 years. I mean, like I said, we were college roommates, or I don't know, maybe it wasn't quite 10 years. Maybe it was quite 10 years, but yeah, I was just surprised because
Well,
I always thought that our opinions were more aligned than that. If I tell you, especially as a woman, hey, I've been knowing this dude for 7 months, That ain't long enough for me to be thinking about
running to no altar.
Absolutely not. Or moving in together or any of that.
Now, is she married?
You know what? No, she's not. And she has a difficult time, with with relationships. Yeah.
I can understand it.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't understand. And most people in relationships don't want to question the other person. If they initially like a person, they're not going to do the hard work or the interrogation or the research or the investigation on who this person really is, because they may find out they're not who they thought they were, and they don't want to be disappointed. So they won't ask the question. They'll wait to see, well, he'll be all right.
And you know what? You bring up a very interesting point, because I'm here to tell everyone, whether you are male or whether you are female, the best time in the world to get all those questions out is up front.
But that calls for a certain amount of honesty.
Well,
we're not honest people.
I'm saying to ask the questions, because if I'm going, let's say this is a first date, right? That's the easiest time to ask, questions. Now, I'm just gonna say it, because you can't date a dude for 8 or 9 months or a woman and then ask, after 9 months, I'm just curious. Are you bisexual?
No.
Do you have a secret wife?
If you're curious,
or you gotta ask that up front. It's less awkward.
Yeah, when you're getting to know someone.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
If you got to ask that question, it's over.
We're going to take a short pause for the call.
Well, let me tell you before we take a quick pause, right? I dated this one friend, and we're still good friends today. He's a Gemini. I'm a Gemini. His birthday is the day after mine, okay? The only thing that made me wonder is, when I go to LA and we go to shopping, the outlet malls, right? The designer shops and all that. Oh man, we like 2 good old girlfriends, But so I was like, that's a little too, And then it was another little funny story, right? Somebody was threatening him, and instead of him saying, I'm gonna punch him out, he was more interested in, taking his shoes off and banging him in the ear. I was like, well, that's kind of interesting.
You can ignore it if you want to.
We're going to take a short pause for the cause. You're here at IntellectualRadio.com with Here's the Life with Zemrah and Cheryl White.
Well, no, actually, I'm
with some drama.
Summertime and the living is easy. Fish are jumping and the cotton is high. Your daddy's rich and your mommy, she's so fine. So hush, little baby, don't you cry. One of these mornings you're gonna rise up singing, then you will spread your wings and you'll take to the sky. But until that morning comes, there is nothing to trouble you, with mommy and daddy standing by. Summertime and your living's made comfortable. Fish are jumping and the cotton is high, high, high. Oh, daddy's rich and your mommy, she's so fine. So hush, little baby, don't you cry. And you'll take to the sky.
We're back at IntellectualRadio.com with Zemrah and joining us this evening is Michelle White, and we're talking about love and relationships and communication and the fact that love is learned. Because one of the things that I've noticed, and I say that with children, when it comes even sometimes to discrimination, is that you can tell just as good when a little kid has been taught to hate, as opposed to if you see a little kid and you say hi and they say hi and they wave back or something, as opposed to them turning up their nose and whatever. And I've picked that up. So when you say about love is learned, that is a true factor. Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing about love is most people don't want to do it because it makes them vulnerable.
Right.
To be hurt.
That's men.
And the only way to really
no, I said that's men.
Oh yeah.
Well, the only way to really love somebody truly is to incubate yourself, to cover yourself with so much strength that you have to learn that nobody can really to the point where you cannot heal.
What do you mean incubate yourself? What do you mean?
I mean
that means you're running from something.
No,
you're closing yourself in.
It's like armor of your spirit, your soul. It lets you know that you were here long before anybody else, and that you came here by yourself. You leaving by yourself, and you take care of yourself. And the strength that you have came from you. It came from God. So therefore, nobody can take that away from you. So you shouldn't be afraid to walk through fire if you know you've got a vested suit on.
Well, why do you feel you have to have the suit on if that's a sense of insecurity?
It's not. It's protection because you know.
But why do you feel that you have to protect yourself?
Because you're going to run into danger.
Because they're not as strong as women.
No, emotionally they're not.
Right. That's what I'm saying. And you've been socialized.
Well, what do you mean you're going to run into danger?
You want to get their heart broken.
Yes, and when men do not recover.
That you look at that as danger, man.
Get their heart broken.
Men do not recover well from that.
Well, now
no, they do
true.
not. Because listen, it's interesting because I do understand that I could be like a tough cookie to crumble, right? So my guy has to be the most over testosterone male that has ever walked this earth, right? But when we were like first starting out, and I would say, I don't want to be bothered with you anymore, whatever. Okay, I'm pretty good with whether it's, hurt or pain or whatever. No problem. I can deal with that. I can deal with anything as long as I'm dealing with the truth. But it's funny because, he would try to be tough. And so I wouldn't answer the phone, right? So he would call and leave messages. And it would be funny because the first song would be like a nice, it would be, he may play a nice song. Then he called back 10 minutes later and he's, close to bawling me out. And then the next time he calls, he's back to, leaving a nice song or a nice message. And then the next call, it's like a crazy maniac. And so that was just kind of interesting watching him fight, what was going on internally, within himself. Like as women, I don't think with a breakup or whatever that we go back and forth in a struggle like that. But men have been socialized, they have been taught to not wear your heart on your sleeve, right?
Well, I mean, that's hard to do if you love somebody.
Not be emotional. So I think it's almost like a dual struggle.
Why weren't you answering the phone?
Because basically,
she was being evil.
I wasn't being evil. When I say I'm done, I'm pretty much done.
Now, is this the same man you're with now?
Yes.
So then you weren't done.
She wasn't done.
Well, that's another story for another day. But
now, how long have you been with him, Cheryl?
We're on the radio. Go ahead.
A long time. So 15 years.
Really?
Years, yeah. And the interesting part about it is because I'm a lot like my dad. If I look back on my childhood, my dad did more raising me than my mom, even though my mom and dad were both in the same home. It was those talks, me and my dad would have, and we still have them, and I would help him with little mechanical things that he would do around the house, and we would just be chit chatting and having a good time with that. So I think my strength comes from him, in a lot of ways. So I'm not. I know that I can be complicated. So,
well, if you recognize it, then that's
so
yeah,
you're not easily persuaded.
Well, I think honestly, something that I've been independent at the same time for
that makes
a
a
very
major
long time,
difference.
and commitment is it can be scary, and not, and I think scary because maybe I'm more concerned with someone changing on me as opposed to me changing on someone. So, but the interesting part about it is that even today, which is kind of scary to me, I still get like butterflies in my stomach, and that's amazing to me that I could feel that way about someone even after all this time. Because I think in the back of my mind, I didn't ever want to admit it, but I guess I felt like, it's impossible to love the same person for so long. Like, okay, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, that's great. But I never would have thought 15 years, later that I would still, feel, the butterflies
Excited
and
when
get
you.
excited and so
That's
forth.
awesome.
Yeah.
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 Ah.
Sometimes I'm like like we go out of town a lot together, and I love that. He doesn't know,
So
how much I love that. He's
Well,
not
he knows
watching
now.
but I get his undivided, attention.
Yeah,
And that's such a great feeling.
it is.
Because when
It
we're
is.
here, he's always, he's
Busy.
hitting the ground, running. And so you don't.
Where's
You get
running? That's how you all get a
snatches
chance to go out of
time.
town.
Yeah.
So that's what makes
Yes.
that nice. But yeah, I still, I still am very excited, with Ed, and
I see that.
I'm a little girl, I
She's
like
a
I'll
big
tell
little,
it,
she's a big little girl.
I really am.
She's a
I'm
big
just
little
a
Well,
girl.
I've
little girl.
watched you over the years.
And I
So
just tell
yes,
Ed, I say,
absolutely.
I don't feel good. And he'll say, I know, baby, but you'll feel better. So, and I love to be pampered. And I just think that it's a gift when you have a mate, so I always say people that fear being loved or afraid, step on out there, because to have a mate to love and that loves you, I think that is so very important as far as growth in life, because
It's very
like when
important.
I don't feel well, Ed takes care of me.
Mhm.
If he doesn't feel well,
Mhm.
I take care of him. Well,
Mhm.
we take care of each other,
Mhm.
and it is such a tremendous blessing.
I agree.
It really is. I just sometimes say, wow, I don't know what I would be lost without him,
Mhm.
because he is just such a gentleman, and and it just, I'm
Well, it's a good
happy.
So
I
thing.
love
It's a
being
good thing
married.
to have someone to go through life with.
That's what I'm saying. I love marriage.
Is there in your corner. It's like if I
Exactly.
call you and I say, Betty, I want to go to the movies. Let's go, to the movies. You may say to me, well, I got this to do. I got to do this for Ed, or I got to cook. I got a performance. Or girl, I really don't feel like it. Let's go next week. That man is that one person where if I really want to do something, his obligation, his commitment is to say, okay.
Yeah.
And I know half the time he tells me, okay.
Mhm.
He don't want, because I know mine half the time. If Ed could just chill out, our schedule is always busy doing something. Because we got a busy March. But I'm saying that, if I say let's go, or we got to do this, or we got to do that, he, okay, when is it? What time is it? And he'll pick up people if he has to for me. And it's just, it's just great. He always pulls, or he goes and parks if it's 3-4 blocks away, let us off in the front. And so it's, it's just spoiling time. And
Yeah,
I
I
love
like
it.
it because I feel like, it's, it's me and him against the world.
Yeah.
Sometimes
And
it's
that's
us
the
against
way-
the kids.
and that's the way
it's
supposed to be.
Sometimes the kids get a little
Yeah, but see,
crazy.
here's
And
the thing.
You gotta, sometimes he's like, well, she not right. Why they, saying something? Sometimes he have to go take a walk.
Well, you have to understand. You have to
he's not
understand that
happy with
when
how
you and
the
him
kids
got
made.
when you and him got together,
Mm-hmm.
you became a family.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first family.
Mm-hmm.
When you have children,
Mm-hmm.
they are an addition to the family.
Mm-hmm.
But the
Whether they're your
family
kids or
unit,
not.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
well, the family unit remains individually by itself. It
That's
is a
true.
structure. It is a
Mm-hmm.
basis for the community and for the family and for the tribe and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
That these two people represent a family.
Yes.
So anything that comes against a family, the two of them will
You
attack
got
it
a problem.
together. And when two men, a man and a woman, handle their problems together,
Mm-hmm.
that's what keeps the world together.
That's true.
So that's what they
I
need to
agree.
understand that. So
Mm-hmm.
when we have outside influence or outside problems, we stand back and say, "Oh, they trying to attack us.
Mm-hmm.
This situation
Mm-hmm.
is attacking us.
Us.
So we got to get on
Right.
this." And that's what she does. When
Mm-hmm.
something comes, she gets busy and says, "Okay, let's do this."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we
So
got
you have to be a team and say,
Mm-hmm.
"This we trying to build a cohesive government or people that
Mm-hmm.
begins with the family and in this house. The
Mm-hmm.
world cannot change until this house changes.
That's right.
The block can't change, the city can't change, the nation can't change, the country can't
You gotta
change
get that unit
until
in
the
order.
neighborhood and that family structure is solid. It begins with not being afraid of anything. Someone said, fear nothing. You
Mm-hmm.
cannot go into a relationship scared that it's going to fail,
Oh, absolutely.
which most people do. That's why you have fear.
Mm.
'Cause I gave you free reign to do whatever you needed. Whatever choices you make is yours because you are a creation of God. I am just here to, assist you if I can. If I can't, I got to keep moving
Mm-hmm.
because I have my own agenda that God gave me. But He gave me you to assist me and for me to assist you. Once you violate that, then you don't need that person
Mm-hmm.
because if that's love is doing for that person.
Yeah,
And
that's
not
true.
it's like you said, it's a verb.
Mm-hmm.
So if you ain't
Mm-hmm.
doing nothing,
Mm-hmm.
you saying it don't mean nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I love you. Yeah, but
Mm-hmm.
you ain't working.
Right.
You ain't paying no
No,
bills,
it
and
doesn't.
you want to jump on me, you want to disrespect me, you want to cuss
Right.
me out. That's not love.
No.
It's
So a
not.
person tells you they love you and they doing that,
The action
they
should
lying
show
to
it.
you.
Right. Because the verb, it's a verb. So it's what you do. And it should be plain to see that you have abuse and neglect here. Okay. And then you have care and nurture here. They cannot coexist.
No,
You've either got one or you have the other.
you
Okay,
cannot.
so you can't be wronged time and time again talking about, oh, he loves me. That's just his way, or, she loves me. She just never had a daddy, so she don't know how to act. And I got to be patient. Sometimes, women are at fault as much as men could be because it's
Mhm.
just a human thing. It's just a person thing. But we need to learn to strive to be better. That takes me back to, again, why I have a definition, okay, for love. Why I think it's very important to have a definition for love, something that Belle shares in her book, and it absolutely makes sense. If you don't know where you are now, okay, and you don't have a roadmap for where you're going, how are you going to get there? How are you going to get anywhere?
Yeah.
So a definition for me is a great starting point. It tells me where I'm starting, where I am today, and where I'm striving to be. And so it points out those things that I need to work on to make my unit bigger, better, stronger.
Excellent. Now, do
Yeah.
you want to be married?
Um,
And what
I
does
do.
and what does and
I
what
do.
does what does marriage mean to you? What does it?
Well, for me, at my age, it means something a little different, right? I'm not 20 something. So I can just tell you, for me, it just means companionship. It just means commitment.
But you can have
It's
that.
just
You can have that without marriage,
I've got it now.
right? So it
I'm told every day, you ain't going nowhere. I ain't going nowhere. And I say, I don't know what you talking about. Yeah,
Everybody wants
but
to maintain that little
yeah,
sense of
but I'm
independence.
going to tell you though. So it's kind of interesting because with him, basically, Now I have, I would say like almost practically anything. If there's nothing I can't ask him for, if he doesn't have it, I mean, if he has it, I'm going to get it. So for me, it's a ceremony.
What does it represent to you?
What is marriage? It represents a team. It represents a
But you already
partnership.
are a team.
You're right. And that's why I'm not like, real, pressed
So
about
what
it.
does it do to know? Does it confine you? Does it bind you? Does it make you more of a commitment? Is there a penalty for?
Yes, because you would feel. For me, I can't speak for him, and I don't, because we're different in a lot of ways, and I think that's part of what keeps us together. But for me, it would make me fight harder if we were married, because
Wait. Fight against the union?
No, I mean, it's
antagonistic?
like, okay, like I said, I'm honest, right? And I'm not always like the easiest person in the world. For example, I'm here in
A
Chicago,
marriage certificate
but
not
my
going to
heart,
change that.
well, I think it would make me, not quick to be flighty.
Why?
Like for example, what does he tell me all? Like he used to tell me I'm so quick to run. I get off the horse in the middle of the race.
That's fear.
And I'm gone. So I don't know. No, it's not fear. I happen to be a no nonsense person.
That's mostly
No,
fear.
but that's just my character.
That's what they say.
But I'm learning though. I'm learning because even my children have given me feedback. Like I thought I was like all full of roses and all beautiful babies and they're like, Ma, you was tough.
You like that.
You was tough,
Yeah, but then but then what type of children did you raise? You can be proud of them.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
that means a lot.
And I only had so much to do with that. I have to give it to them. They're just they're good. They're good
focused
kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they are probably better, kids than for the most part than maybe than what I was. I experimented a lot. Two of my daughters, I know for a fact, never. They took my confidence to a whole, another level. I remember when, cigarettes were like 60 cents or something like that. And, there were a group of us in the schoolyard. And, well, they were older than me, though. They were older than me. They had the cigarettes and, I might have tried a cigarette or whatever. I'm not a smoker, though. I've never been a smoker. But, I'm just, saying, I think I love house music. And anybody that knows anything about, house music in Chicago, I used to go to the warehouse. I was underage. So I was like 16, 17. Me and my girlfriend, Anita, went to 63rd Street, got fake IDs. She used my sister's ID, as a matter of fact, because both of them, they were light. I couldn't use my sister's ID. Like, really? But she used my sister's ID and I went and got a fake ID from 63rd Street. So at 16, 17, we were going to parties that started at midnight. And the parties would be over like 8 o'clock in the morning, right? Mm-hmm. So, but I mean, it was just fun. We weren't doing anything like really, really crazy or drugging it up or anything like that. It was the music and we had a good time, right?
Yeah.
Oh, my kids never went to a party at 12 midnight. Yeah. and they don't know that I did.
Yeah. But we gotta
know now.
Yeah. We gotta wind it down. It's always good when you're having fun.
It is.
And we want to really thank you, Cheryl, for coming out. Valentine's Day is this Thursday. Mm-hmm. And we want to definitely wish our producer, Wanda, happy birthday. Give her a shout out and ask that God continue to bless her with many, many more birthdays. And for those that are afraid to love, always say embrace love, embrace life. When you embrace it, it'll certainly embrace you back. You're here at IntellectualRadio.com. We're here every Tuesday from 6 to 7, hoping that we always say something that will spark something in that heart, in your mind, in your soul, and, give you that flicker of light and hope. To know that love is possible, and you know it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I want you to make sure again that you mark your calendars, listen out for my music. And again, my release party is March 30th. It's at Kennedy King, and it's our VIP dinner is at 5:30. Showtime at 7, and there'll be much more information coming forth. But just wanted to put that on your mind so you can check your calendars. Again, my CD release party for Love is Possible is March 30th, 2019. And we're very, very excited about it. I want to give a wonderful, wonderful shout out to Pamela Wilkes, who just did some beautiful, beautiful lyrics on 3 of my songs. And the music is by me, and it's produced by Reggie Foster, who he just outdid himself.
Saxophone player extraordinaire.
Yeah, he's awesome, awesome brother, and I'm so happy that I let him talk me into producing it because he did a fantastic job. So check us out. Thanks for sharing your definition of love and commitment to us, and we got to look at having you back.
Okay. And I just would like to add, because I'm working on
we got to wrap it up.
Okay, so I'm working on that second me. So if anybody has any questions for me about love or fashion, because I've got that on lock too, you can catch me on Instagram, Facebook, or my website at Around the Way It Girl.
Okay, thank you. Good night.
I want to thank Earl for letting me be myself again.
He's a manifestation of my dream. We must have been dreaming.